Hey everybody, it's Mr. Greg here from the Kindergarten Smorgasbord, and as always, it's time for submissions for Smorgie Live, and the Mr. is here as well. He's in the background, so he's behind the scenes tonight.
Hey everybody.
So thank you guys so much for joining us for submissions for Smorgie Live. We're super excited that you're here. This is a live show, so who knows what will happen as we go live, but thank you so much for taking time out of your night to join us. We're looking forward to a whole hour talking about literacy and all things literacy in our classroom. We have lots of great things to share with you tonight, super giveaways from our sponsors at ESGI. And so the more questions you ask, the more content we can cover. The more questions you ask, the more fun we have. So feel free to start posting those questions and we'll get to them as soon as we can. The way it's going to work, you just post your questions right there in the chat box. Jason will moderate those questions and I'll do my best to answer them as we go through the next hour. So tonight, as always, Submissions for Smorgie Live is sponsored by our friends at ESGI. And so a huge shout out to our friends at ESGI for always sponsoring us and supporting teachers. And so tonight we're giving away a TKS Bootcamp bundle, 1 year free of ESGI, a $50 gift card to the TKS store. So the way it's going to work tonight, we're doing something different with the giveaways. You don't have to do anything to enter. Simply by being here and being in the chat, you're entered. And so you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. The way it works is that we're entering your names are entered into a random generator. That random generator will pop out a name and we'll announce the winner. So you don't have to do a single thing, but sit back, take notes, enjoy your favorite beverage, ask all the questions, and that's it. So we've really simplified it for the giveaways. So if you're here, you're registered and ready to go.
And we're going to see how that goes.
Yes.
We're trying it new this month. So bear with us as we do this.
All right. So again, thank you, ESGI. And you can see that on the screen. Use the code SMORGIEBONKERS. You'll get your 60-day free trial, and you'll get $40 off of your first year. So tonight, a couple of things we might talk about will be our new line of research, our new line of creation called Read It Up. We also might be talking about our research projects, which I'm always super excited to talk about because I love the way they work in our classroom. We'll probably get to talk about our TKS Bootcamp bundle, curriculum.
And that's all.
And that's all.
You can see we're trying something new tonight with the screen as well. And so he has a little script here in front of him on things that he's supposed to talk about. And
you were moving your mouse, so I thought you were getting ready to switch to another slide. So
nope.
Welcome to live broadcasting. Yes. All right. So part of the fun. Again, thank you for joining us. Again, the more questions you guys ask, the more we can make out of this hour together. So start firing away those questions, and we'll get started with your questions.
All right, I'm ready. So we have 3 to start off the night. All 3 of them are from Nikki Mason. The first one is, how often do you do running records with your kids?
So we do. It's a little bit different for us in kindergarten. We aren't required to do our first formal running record in kindergarten until December. The rest of the school, 1st grade through 4th grade, they start running records and formal running records in October at the end of the first 9 weeks. We have the option to do formal running records at that time on the students that we think we need to do them on. And then in December, we do our first one, and then we do another one at the end of the year. So we do beginning, middle, and end of the year. And then every month, we're required to do informal running records on all students.
Next question from Nikki. Do you have any benchmarks with your kids? If so, how often?
Yeah, we do benchmarks. We do FAST is our benchmark. It's very similar to Ames Web and DIBELS. And so it happens at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year. And I don't actually administer those benchmarks. They're actually administered by an assessment team that we have in our building.
Next question from Nikki. Do you have a writing program you use? If so, what is it?
We don't have a writing program that we use. And this year, they've really curtailed our writing workshop time. And so what we've really had to do this year is really integrate not only writing about literature or writing about a topic, doing our research projects, but we've really had to integrate the mechanics of writing and teaching the kids how to write while writing about other topics. So what we've used in the past with great success, and when people ask about writing, it's always my go-to resource, and that is Writing Through the Year from Dee Dee Wills and Deanna Jump. So if you're looking for a writing curriculum or something to supplement your writing curriculum, that's always my number one recommendation for writing.
This next question is from Dee Dee. Any suggestions on how to help kiddos who are struggling with blending words together?
So I think a lot of it is developmental. And so it just takes some kids longer, and that's okay. So a couple of things. Number one, lots of practice, just lots and lots and lots of practice. Something that I've started doing recently that's helped a lot is when we're doing CVC words. So we'll say k, and then I'll say, okay, now we're going to do it again. And they'll say k, at. And then I'll say, okay, again, k, at. And so having them, basically you're doing it one sound at a time and you're adding the next sound. So k, at, k, at. That has really helped some of my kids who are struggling with blending, because it helps them remember those first two sounds, which can sometimes, especially if they don't have a lot of letter sound fluency, they can forget that first sound. And so by having them keep going back and repeating it has really helped.
This next question is from Nikki again. At the end of kindergarten, what do your kids know for writing? Can they write a sentence, 2 sentences, 3 sentences?
So the goal for us at the end of kindergarten is our kids can write 3 to 4 sentences on a topic. And so that really can, it varies from student to student, but we're really looking for capital letters, finger spaces, punctuation, again, 2, 3, 4 sentences on the same topic. Usually by the end of kindergarten, 95% of my kids, 90 to 95% of them are able to do that. And a lot of that stems from research projects, because that's what we do a lot in the research projects is every day they're writing about a topic. And so they're writing at least 3 sentences about a topic. And so it really just kind of helps them build up that writing stamina throughout the year.
So Kim asked a question, and so I think we may have confused people earlier when you mentioned assessing with ESGI. She said, so you don't assess your kids, a team does? So you want to explain what you mean by using ESGI?
So the question earlier was, do you have benchmark assessments? And so, and what we consider a benchmark is done 3 times a year, and that's our FAST assessment, which again is like Dibbles or Ames Web. It's a nationally normed, standardized, one-on-one, timed test. So my kids are pulled out. Someone comes and pulls them out one-on-one. It's administered to them in the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, the end of the year. That's a benchmarking. That's where we get our data, our official data for intervention. We use some of that data for grouping in the classrooms. And so that's benchmarking for us. The rest of the year, we assess our kids with ESGI. That happens in the classroom weekly. And so I use ESGI at least once a week with my kids. Everyone on my team assesses Friday. We assess once, 1 literacy skill and 1 math skill with ESGI every Friday. Now, during the week, I may pull the kids and do a quick on-the-fly assessment with ESGI to see how we're handling a certain skill. I do a lot of on-the-fly assessments with sight words. And so we're constantly assessing them in the classroom with ESGI, but benchmarking only happens 3 times a year.
And so if you want to learn more about ESGI, you can go to esgisoftware.com, and they have some training modules there, and some other resources that you can use to learn more about it. You can also go to our website at kindergartensmorgasbord.com, and Greg has some videos that he's done and some blog posts showing how he uses ESGI in his classroom. And don't forget to use that code you see there on the screen, Smorgie Bonkers, to get your 60-day free trial and $40 off your first year. This question's from Katie. What is your favorite tool or trick to help kids write more details or identify key details in a text?
So one of my things to do with the kids writing and getting details is adding the word because. And so, for example, right now we're in the middle of our big animal research project. And so this week we've been learning about panda bears, polar bears, and bears, hence the sweater today. We learned about bears. So the kids have been writing, bears have sharp claws, which is true, and that's great writing, but I want them to go further with that. And so what we do is bears have sharp claws because, and then they have to talk about why the bears have sharp claws. And so adding that word because is a great way to get them to add a little bit more detail. A good way to start that is in morning meeting or in conversations with kids and having them use the word because when having conversations. And so it becomes very natural for them. And so when you're asking them to do it in their writing, it's a very natural skill for them. And something else we've been doing, a couple of our Read It Ups have some very specific lessons that focus on key ideas, key details, and main idea and supporting details. And that has helped a lot, getting the kids just to talk about the details in a story, and then you start to see a little bit more of that showing up. The thing to remember about writing and literacy is that if we want our kids to read and write, they have to be able to communicate. And so that's one of the big pushes with our Read It Ups, is that we talk about the story, we talk about the sequencing, we talk about the main idea, we talk about the details, and then we can write about it. Because the whole thing is, if they can't communicate it verbally or orally, then they're never going to be able to put it in writing. And so that's why the Read It Ups have a lot of turn and talk opportunities built in, is so that we're getting the kids to talk about it more.
So Nikki wanted to follow up on her question. She said maybe she wasn't clear. When she asked about benchmarks, she meant benchmarks between running records for guided reading. We have to benchmark them between running records to see if they move up.
Yeah, we do informal running records. And so formal running records are done in October, December, and May. In between those formal running records, we do informal running records every month on our students. And so that's how we're able to know if they've moved up.
And Kim had a follow-up on her question about ESGI. Is that like for your report card info that goes home to parents?
Yes, so ESGI, that's most of our report card data comes from ESGI. The kids also have independent work that they've been completing on their own that I also used for report cards, but most of our report card data comes from ESGI.
And a follow-up on Read It Up. What's your next Read It Up book?
The one we're working on or the one we're doing in class?
Probably both.
So the one we're doing in class right now, we just started this one, The Old Lady Who Swallowed a Chick, which my kids absolutely loved today. They were so excited and so engaged. And the one I'm actually working on right now, I'm in the process of creating, is Read It Up, Animal Strike at the Zoo.
So here's another follow-up question on Read It Ups. Kim wants to know, is that something that you purchased like boot camp, or what exactly is Read It Up?
So Read It Up is it's our newest line of creations here at the Kindergarten Smorgasbord. And it's really designed to build oral and written comprehension skills for our kids. So let me give you a little background on where the Read It Up came from and what's been happening in our district, so you'll kind of get an idea of where they came from. So last year, our district purchased something called an IFL unit. So they're considered exemplar literacy units. And so we had to do this IFL unit using 2 texts. They're very complex text, at least 2 to 3 grade levels above our students. And so we were given this unit. We were given all of the information to do the unit. The problem was, and the concern that we had as kindergarten teachers, was that while we knew the kids could do what they were asking them to do, we knew that our kids needed supports in place to do that. And so that's where our first Read It Up came from. It was Read It Up for Brave Irene. And so I created Read It Up to give the kids the scaffolding to do what this IFL unit wanted them to do and what our district expected them to do. So at the end of this Brave Irene Read It Up, the kids knocked it out of the park. They were having conversations about personification and main idea and cause and effect. And so I was like, okay, then that's what my kids need. And so our district is really, really, really pushing complex text-dependent questions, and a lot more written response to reading and literature. And so that's where Read It Up came out of, is that this desire to do what my district wanted to do, but to do it in a way that was developmentally appropriate, engaging, and fun for the kids. And so that's the whole idea behind Read It Up. And so each Read It Up is focused on a single text. There are multiple lessons and activities and comprehension skills covered in the Read It Ups. All, of course, whatever the comprehension skill is, of course, geared for that specific text. But it's really lots of oral, so the kids do a lot of turn and talk, and then there's also a lot of writing in response to literature. So they're making lots of connections, having great literature conversations, and in the end, they can translate that into writing as well. So really, Read It Up is really just designed to really focus on reading comprehension and build those all-important reading comprehension skills for our kids.
So how long does it take to complete a read up? Is it a week-long thing, longer, shorter?
That's the beauty of everything we create here at the Kindergarten Smorgasbord, is that it's completely flexible. It's totally up to you. With just the way things work in our school, in our classroom, we do a read it up for a week. They're designed to be a week or 2 weeks or shorter. We've done, when we did creepy carrots and creepy underwear in the fall, we did a whole creepy carrot day, and we just used read it up for that day. So they're completely flexible. So it really depends on your schedule, what your district expects, what your school expects. But for us, we use it for a week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we really kind of focus on comprehension skills. Wednesday is usually, sometimes if not comprehension, a grammar skill. Thursday is always a writing and kind of like the culminating task, the writing response. And then Friday, we try to do a STEM project or an art project. The dogs say hi.
Someone rang doorbell at 7 o'clock.
And so that's kind of it. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, comprehension, grammar. Thursday, writing. And then Friday, some kind of STEM or art project or a graphing activity. And so there's always a graphing activity included, so you always get some math. Then we try to include art sometimes, and then sometimes we also try to include STEM.
All right, so Taylor asked if you could explain what ESGI is and how you use it in the classroom.
Yeah, so ESGI is a one-on-one assessment tool. It's all computer-based, and so the way it's designed is that you sit down, you sit with your kid one-on-one. They're looking at your computer screen or your iPad or tablet screen, doesn't matter. And it's just they're answering the questions, reading the sight word, telling you the letter, telling you the sound, and you're just clicking yes, no. And so that's it. It's a very fast, very effective, very efficient one-on-one assessment tool. Their website is esgisoftware.com. And so that's what we use for our assessment. So instead of paper, pencil, and piling up all these paper assessments, we just do it with ESGI. As soon as you're done with that assessment of that student, you get instant data. You get pie graphs and growth charts, and you can see how many, or you can see what they missed, what they got right. It immediately generates a parent letter, so it tells the parents what the test was, how the kids did. It generates flashcards. So it's really just a one-on-one assessment tool that you can use anytime because it's so fast. And all you need is a computer, internet, and or a device like a tablet.
And they can use assessments that you've created already. So if you already are using ABC Bootcamp or anything in our TKS Bootcamp curriculum, there are now assessments in there to use along with that. Do you also have sight word assessments?
Yes, we have sight word assessments. We have all of our TKS Bootcamp assessments, number bootcamp, word family bootcamp. And so that's also another great thing about it is that you can use any of the assessments that are already created, and there are hundreds and hundreds of those. Or you can create your own assessments, which is also very easy to do.
Can students use it independently, or so that you can test multiple students at a time, or does it require your involvement?
No, it is a teacher-driven one-on-one assessment tool. Because the whole idea is that you have to click yes or no. And so there's no way the kids could just go through and click yes on all of them, and you would never know. So it's adult-driven. Jason has come in.
It's super, super easy. And if you go to the kindergartensmorgasbord.com and type in why I love assessment, there's actually a video there showing Greg actually showing you just like he's assessing a kid. He's going through and clicking the yes or no's, and you can see how fast it is. And I came in and assessed Greg's students at the beginning of last year, at the beginning of the year for their letters and sounds. And I was floored at how simple it was just to go through, and you're just clicking yes, no, it shows an A on the screen and they tell you the letter. If they say A, you click yes. If they say C, you click no. Or if they say I don't know, you click no, and you move on to the next one. Yeah. It's just super simple. So
yeah, and it's teacher driven or adult driven. So you have to have an adult because we have to know if they're getting it right or not.
Yes. All right. So I think. Sorry. I think we need to tell them again what our giveaways are tonight and how those are going to work since we're not doing the regular way, the raffle copter.
All right. So tonight, you don't have to go to the website and enter. You don't have to do a raffle copter. The way it works is that if you're here, then you're automatically put into our drawing. We're using a random generator. It'll generate the winners. We'll announce the winners. So tonight we're giving away a TKS Bootcamp bundle, a 1-year license to ESGI, and a $50 TKS store gift card. And again, you're already entered. If you're here hanging out with us, woohoo! You're entered. So just relax, sit back, have your favorite beverage, ask all the questions, and know that when we do the drawings, you're already entered.
All right, let's keep moving with the questions. I think we've got all the Read It Up questions answered now, so we're going to move on to another topic. And there is a blog post on Read It Ups, right?
There are a couple of blog posts.
Yeah, so if you want to learn more, you can go and check out the blog post.
There's a blog post just on Read It Up in general, and then there's a couple of specific Read It Ups blog posts like Creepy Carrots, Creepy Underwear, Winter Read It Ups, so you can check those out.
All right, this question is from Jean. Are all your running records on a cold read, a book they have not read before?
Yes. So all of our running records, both formal and informal, are on cold reads. I like that consistency. I feel like just by using the cold read, I just get much more valid data and kind of really gives me the information I need to help them as readers.
This question is from Angela, and this is a question we get all the time on social media because they happen to see somebody walk through the classroom and they hear another adult's voice somewhere in the room. Mr. Greg, do you have an assistant in your room?
No. I'm going to have a t-shirt made that says, I do not have an assistant.
And the reason why we're so adamant about that is because Greg has 19 students, and we get that question a lot too. People are like, oh my gosh, I would give anything to only have 19 students, even though that's a pretty average number, I think.
Yeah.
And so we get hit all the time on social media saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe you only have 19. And then people will say little things. They'll make comments and say, I heard another adult's voice in the room. I know he has an assistant. Or I saw someone else in the room, so there must be an assistant that's helping him do all of these things. And there's not. The only assistant he has is me, and I'm at home.
Yeah, so there's no assistant. And so if you watch our videos and our live feeds from the classroom, you will see adults wander in and out of the room. They're in there pulling kids for services or interrupting me with a question. That's what it is. There's no assistant. There's no other adult in the room. It's just me. The past couple of years, I've had a student teacher, and I think last semester I had a practicum student. But otherwise, that's it. There's no assistant. It's just me hanging out with the kids and doing it all, just me and my 19 kids. Yeah, and I think 19 is a perfect number. Last year I had 23. And so it goes anywhere from 18 to 23. But it's also important to remember that almost all of my students, all 19, come in speaking little to no English at the beginning of the year. And so that's why we have small numbers, is because we serve mostly EL students. And so that's one way that we help provide some services to them, is by having smaller numbers.
Next question is from Kathy. How do you differentiate during center time?
That's a big question.
That can take a while, huh?
Yeah, everything, again, it's data driven. Thanks to ESGI, the data is easy to get. It's super convenient, super up to date. And so the kids are broken down into 4 groups. They're skill-based groups. And so it's really just data-driven. The groups are fluid. They change frequently as needed. And so, one group may be working on sight words and blends and digraphs. And then another group may be doing sight words and vowels and CVC words. And so it really just is what the kids need. And so that's how we differentiate in centers, is by providing them activities that they need to be working on based on all of our data.
Next question is also from Kathy. My daughter is a new kindergarten teacher this year.
Woohoo!
What advice would you give her?
So a couple of things. Number one, don't be afraid to ask for help. And I think we get this question frequently from first-year teachers. And that's my number one piece of advice. Teaching is incredibly hard, especially those first couple of years. And it's also very isolating. And if you stop and think about it, we go into our classrooms, we close our doors because the fire marshal tells us to, and then we're isolated all day with no other adult interaction. And so it can be very hard to seek out help. The other thing is, and I hope this is something that we're trying to change, is that a lot of times in education and teaching, asking for help can be seen as a weakness or a sign of failure. And so we just don't ask for help. We don't go to people and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Can you help? And so my biggest piece of advice for new teachers, student teachers, teachers who've been doing this for 20 years, don't be afraid to ask for help. I go to my coaches all the time and I say, hey, what can I do about this? Or how can I make this better? With behavior challenges, go to outside people, have people observe you. Just be willing to ask for help. And the other thing is, you can't do it all. There is absolutely no way in the world that you or I or any teacher can do everything that is expected of us every day. You pile that on top of what we see on social media and just know that you cannot do it all. So you have to pick and choose. You have to do what's best for your kids, and you have to focus on doing what's best and what's right for your kids. I think last year I figured out if I did everything that my district required, it would take me 13 hours a day. I don't have that kind of time in my classroom. And so you have to just pick the things that matter the most and focus on those.
So next question is from Teaching in Flats. How long do your research projects take each day, and for how many days?
So again, the research projects are completely flexible. And so they really are designed to accommodate any schedule, any scope and sequence. And so the way they work for us is this year, our district scope and sequence has pushed our units to 3 weeks. And so a research project now will take about 3 weeks. Prior to that, we did them in 2 weeks. I really liked the 2 weeks. I thought the 2 weeks was perfect for a research project. It's a perfect amount of time to keep the kids engaged, perfect amount of time to cover all of what you need to cover, and not feel rushed, but also you're not dragging it out. But I've also done research projects in a week, and that's okay too. So really 1, 2 to 3 weeks. You could probably even go a little bit longer than 3 weeks if you wanted to, but 1 to 3 weeks is perfect. As far as how long every day, the way we've worked it out in our school is that our whole group literacy lesson takes 30 minutes. And so if you're thinking about a research project, the read aloud portion and the graphic organizer take about 20 minutes or so. And then the students are writing, which is independent writing. And so once they're done with that, they can go to center. So you're looking at about a 30-minute whole group lesson for the research projects, and that's done every day.
This next question is from Diantha. What does your plan look like when you show decodable readers with Val teams? I just started with AI on Monday with all components. What do you do with that?
So with the decodable readers, the thing to remember about decodable readers is they're not really meant, and this is something I had to learn, they're not really meant for every single child. Decodable readers, which are part of our TKS Bootcamp curriculum, are meant for students who need help with decoding skills. And so if you're starting Val teams, so we would do the circle map on day 1. Then on day 2, we would work on the word building and blending the words. So from my observations over those 2 days, I would identify the kids who need a little extra help with that decoding skill. So if you're doing AI, like, oh, okay, these 6 kids are having, I noticed that they're having a little trouble with AI. So I'm gonna pull them into a small group and do some decodable reader work with them. So the kids, we finish our whole group lesson. The kids are doing independent work. They're moving into centers. I call a small group, say 3 to 4 kids, and we do the decodable reader. So we, just like a guided reading lesson, only we're just focused on that decodable reader. And so let's say the rain. Oh, they don't know rain, so we're going to use our sound. So they're like the rain. Rain. The rain is a pain. The rain is a pain. So we're just focusing on decoding with that specific vowel team or blend or word family with the decodable readers. And then at the end, there's also the writing page of the decodable reader. So they're also working on writing the words.
This next question is from Michelle. Actually, I'm sorry, Katie. What emergent chapter books would you recommend for whole class read alouds in grade 1?
I think any of the Junie B. Jones books are great. I think kids love those. As a matter of fact, one of my kindergartners today had a Junie B. Jones book and was reading it, and she was highlighting all the sight words that she found. And I love them. I think they're hilarious. So I think Junie B. Jones, Charlotte's Web. I've read Charlotte's Web by kindergartners before, and they loved that. So those are some good ones.
This question is from Michelle. do they copy your sentences during writing, or do they write their own? Do you give them sentence starters?
So it depends on what you're talking about. So if we're doing,
and she had asked that a while ago, so she may have been asking about a specific
okay
topic. I'm not sure.
So if we're doing a true writer's workshop, they're doing their own writing. And so I might model how to draw a picture, how to write a sentence, then I hide mine, and they draw the picture and write a sentence. So in true writer's workshop, they're doing it all on their own with no copying. For the research projects, it's both ways. There's no sentence frames, but they can copy straight from the graphic organizer. And again, that's okay. A lot of kids, that's very developmental. It's building that confidence that they need as writers. And then some kids are going to take that information and they're going to write their own sentences. Some kids aren't even going to look at those graphic organizers. They're just going to write about pandas. And so it really depends on if we're doing writer's workshop, if we're doing a research project, and where the kids are in their journey as writers.
This question's from Vicky. How do you organize your classroom library books?
So there's actually a whole blog post on this, but ours are organized by author, by theme, by genre. And I've really, the past couple of years, I've really been breaking down some of those themes to align with our research projects. And so just makes it a lot easier for me. And so they're really aligned to whatever themes or units we're doing. And then the way they're organized is by number. So every box is numbered. All of the books that go in that box have the same number. So if you look at right now, I think we're up to like 57 boxes. And so we're numbered 1 to 57. So if you pull a book out of box 33, that book will have a sticker at the top with a number 33 on it. So the kids or adults, me, anybody knows if they find that book, it goes right back in box 33. So what that does, it makes it super easy for the library to stay organized. It's very kid-friendly, very teacher-friendly, and that's how we do it. So they're organized by themes, units, authors, genres, and everything is organized, is sorted by number, so we can just match the book to the number on the box, and everybody knows where everything goes.
All right, are we ready to do a giveaway?
Let's do a giveaway.
Let's give away the TKS Bootcamp bundle. How about that?
All right.
But before we do, you want to tell them a little bit about TKS Bootcamp, how it works, what it is.
Yeah.
And I will go and pick the winner.
So the TKS Bootcamp curriculum is something that I created, started with ABC Bootcamp. And so it's 9 components, 5 literacy components, 4 math components, and they're all designed to be done the same way. So they're providing whole group instruction, small group instruction, centers, decodable readers, writing. And so that similar process helps the kids because it gives them that scaffolding and support that they need. And so they can really focus on the content and the learning and not so much how we want them to do it. So they all use circle maps and they all use word building and blending and decodable readers and student books. And so it's a research-based curriculum. It's classroom proven. I mean, you can see some of the data right here. You can see the growth. So we've had amazing results in pre-K and kindergarten and first grade from classrooms all over the country and in Canada and Australia. And so it is a research-based, classroom-proven, engaging, rigorous, developmentally appropriate curriculum for literacy and math that really will help take your students to the next level.
So someone just said, oh, I thought I had to go to their website and enter. But remember, you may have missed it earlier at the beginning of the session. We didn't do that this time in the hopes of making it a little more simple. What we're doing is we can see all the names of everyone that's in the chat. So what I did was I went in and I pulled all those names out. I put them in a random generator and I let it pick a number. I went back and matched that number to the name. And that is how we chose tonight's winner. So that saves you from having to run to the website and try to find it and get entered. So you can just stay right here in the chat and not worry about going anywhere.
Just simplified it for you guys.
Yes, yes. And so we have a winner.
All right, so the winner of the TKS Bootcamp curriculum is...
is that Jeannie Adkins? Jeannie Adkins, I hope you're still here. If so, let us know that you're here in the chat. And I'm pretty sure that you are because I can still see your name. So just confirm that you're still here. And then what you'll need to do is just shoot us an email letting us know that you won. Yep, there she is.
Yay, congratulations.
It's just pronounced Jean.
Jean, yay, congratulations.
All right, Jean, so here's what you need to do to claim your prize. You're going to send us an email at kindersmorgie@gmail.com. I'm going to type it in here as well. Just kindersmorgie@gmail.com. Give me your name and tell me what you won. And then I will reply with instructions on how to get the TKS Bootcamp bundle. Congratulations, Jean.
Super
that was
easy.
so much easier
so
than having
easy,
to go and do it the other way. Yay. All right. Back to questions.
Questions.
All right. Let's see. Next question. This one is from one of my favorites. Hey, Jessica. How would you recommend storing your activities for math centers? I have 5 tubs, and in each tub, I have each activity in a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, but it makes it hard to keep the activities organized.
So I do the same thing. So everything's in a gallon Ziploc bag. They're put in their math tubs. And so that's how we do it. When I put everything away, when I'm storing them in the closet, they're sorted by skill. And so everything goes in the gallon Ziploc bag. Those gallon Ziploc bags go into Rubbermaid totes, and they're all sorted by skill. So I have a tub for numbers, a tub for counting, a tub for addition, subtraction, a tub for place value, 10 frames, 10 frame cards, graphing. And so, but they're all put in those gallon Ziploc bags and then put in those tubs.
So on the topic of organization, Katie wants to know, how do your learners keep their stuff organized?
Well, it really depends on what kind of stuff we're talking about. So we have no tables and no desks, so they really don't have stuff to keep organized. All of the supplies are on a shelf in the back of the room. So whatever they need, they just go grab it. And so if they need a pencil, they just go grab a pencil. As far as their center papers, when they finish a recording sheet during centers, it goes in the cubby to go home. If it's independent work that I want to collect, when they're done, they just put it on our table or on our stage, and I pick those up. So the journals, the morning journals, have a basket they go in, and that's it. And so with no tables, no desks, everything is kind of just organized. Everything has a spot in the room, and so that's how we keep things organized.
Do you check and correct their center papers?
I do not. The reason being is that the centers are designed and the groupings are designed so that the students can be 95% successful with their centers. And so that 5% gives them the challenge that they need, but they're 95% successful, so there's really no reason to check it. I do monitor them. I'm up between groups, keeping an eye on them, so I'm also aware of what they're doing and how they're doing.
This question's from Lauren. How early in the school year do you start Read It Ups?
So this year we started Read It Up on the first day of school. Our very first one is Miss Bindergarten Gets Ready for Kindergarten. And so we started that one, of course, with very, very simple activities. We just did them whole group. But that's how we started at the beginning of the year, very first day of school. And then we just build on them as the year goes on.
Diantha wants to know how many different skills and tubs you have.
So we have not for both literacy and math, there are 9 tubs for each group. So we have 4 groups, so a total of 36 literacy tubs and 36 math tubs. As far as the number of skills, that varies depending on what we're working on, what the kids need practice with. So some groups might have 3 or 4 different activities. They might have 1 or 2 activities. And so it really just depends on what the students need, because those skills and what's in those tubs is specifically targeted to that group at that certain time.
On staying on the topic of Read It Ups real quick, I think I missed these 2 earlier. Does the Read It Up include the author of the book?
There is a story map for each one that does include a place for the author. But then that's something, of course, we talk about as we talk about the book. But it is included when you make it. If you do the story map, it's included.
This one's from Amber. Do you have a reading and writing workshops or lesson every day? Or do you have specific days you focus on these areas?
So we do reading and writing every single day. We don't have the workshop model necessarily, but we do reading and writing every day, whether it's a Read It Up or a research project. And then the writing is integrated with those. And so right now we're doing our animal research project. And so we did reading. We've been reading informational text. So as we're reading those texts, we're talking about charts and text features and all of those things while talking about the animal, completing the graphic organizer whole group, and then the kids are able to use that graphic organizer to do their writing. So we do reading and writing every day. We just don't use a workshop model necessarily.
How do you do the writing in the beginning of the year when some students don't know how to write?
We draw. And so with Read It Up, especially, it's a lot of drawing and illustrating at the beginning of the year, and then we start to bring in more writing later on.
From Laura, have you done author studies? If so, what authors have you used?
We have in the past. We've done Mo Willems. We've done David Shannon. We've done The Old Lady Who Swallowed books as an author study. We've also done The Diary of a Worm, A Diary of a Spider, those books. Click, Clack, Moo, we've done those books as author studies. And so we have in the past. So those are some of the ones that we've done. We are in the middle of working on creating Read It Ups for all of the Old Lady books. I think we have like 4 now. So we're working on getting the whole series done.
That was perfect timing because Dee just asked any plans to bundle the Read It Ups. And so right now we have tons of people asking us about that because they're just so popular. Everyone's absolutely loving them, and they're wanting them bundled, and we would love to do that. However, you have to have the book in order to do the Read It Up. And so we're afraid if we bundle a bunch that aren't related, that everyone may not have those books, and then they're going to buy a bundle, and they're going to have a bunch of books they're going to have to go out and buy. Right. And we don't want to require people to buy a book to be able to use the resource. We want it to be a resource maybe you already have in your classroom. Yeah. So once we do, like a series, like, The Pigeon or The Old Lady Who Swallowed, like those, then we can bundle those. Yeah. We'll feel more comfortable bundling those. But that's the only reason so far we have not.
And the other thing, too, that might happen is we might get like 3 or 4 books that would work each month. So we might be able to do a monthly bundle.
That's a good idea.
But if you guys have ideas, share your thoughts with us. Let us know what you think about bundling. Because it would be nice to kind of know what your opinions are.
Absolutely.
So we'll kind of know what people are wanting and thinking.
Staying on the topic of Read It Ups, as you can tell, this shows you how popular they are.
People
We're just
love
talking
them.
About them, and questions keep coming up about them here in the chat tonight. So that shows you how popular they are. Kim wants to know, are your Read It Ups in a specific order for skill building?
They are not. The reason being is that the skills are targeted to each individual book. And so they're kind of thematic. And so, we started at the beginning of the year with Miss Bindergarten. In October, we did Creepy Carrots and Creepy Underwear. So they're really kind of monthly thematic books. And so the skills are just targeted for what works with that book. So they're not building necessarily in order of the year and as they get more difficult. But like main idea, we hadn't included main idea until we did a Read It Up that we used in January. So sometimes it's just natural because the books tend to get a little more challenging as the year goes on. So the skills will get a little more challenging. But as far as me creating them, I'm just creating them based on the book.
So a couple of people have said they would love the idea of doing month to month or maybe even by theme. So both of those 2 ideas seem to be the popular ideas. Okay. But please continue giving us your feedback here in the chat so we know what you think would be best, month to month or theme or maybe both.
And if you ever have a suggestion for a Read It Up, like a book that you would like to see us do, message us, email us, let us know. So because sometimes I'll have several that I want to do, but I also want to know what books you use, what books you're doing.
So Michelle just asked, do you just choose books that interest you?
So kind of what I've been doing. So a couple, again, some of it's driven by our district, our scope and sequence. I don't think we have one up here. We had a big fairy tale unit over the course of a couple of months. And so we did the Read It Up. We did Little Red Riding Hood, 3 Little Pigs, and something else. So they're kind of driven that way as well. And then they're they're really theme topic driven. And so
someone asked to see a sample, so I'm just going to show you real quick. So if you go to tksstore.com, you click on categories, then you go down to reading. Oops. Hopefully you can see this okay. The white you may not be able to see so well, but once it gets to the preview, you can. So here they are. Which one should I pick? Should I do a new one? So let's do let's do one of the let's do a cow. Let's do this one. So if you go to the TK store, you can always click on the preview file, and it's going to pull up a preview showing each of the activities that's included in that particular resource. Oh, you're not going to be able to see that because it's so white.
I can kind of walk them through there, though, if you'll kind of scroll. So we always have text-dependent questions.
Wait, let me zoom in a little bit.
Okay, so we're always going to have text-dependent questions. Always include some before reading questions and then during and after reading questions. Always include some essential questions, kind of those driving questions that kind of drive what we're doing with the book. Rubrics are included for retelling, writing. Sometimes rubrics are included for some of the grammar skills as well, but not always. But always for writing and retelling. We always do predictions. Then everyone has a story map that looks like this. And so you use the labels to create your graphic organizer, and then the kids are able to do it on their paper. Okay. Then we always have retelling with just the sequence words. And so again, it would be, we'd create the graphic organizer. The kids would tell the story. First, the old lady swallowed, and I'm just writing what they're saying. And then they can either write or draw on their paper to retell the story. And then what I have them do is I'll have them tell me the story when they show me their paper. Okay.
Real versus fantasy?
Yeah, so you keep scrolling so they can see. So real versus fantasy. So again, that's a very specific skill to the old lady books. And then we have response to literature. And so you can see they've got different ones. Again, those responses vary depending on the book. So for the old lady books, I would swallow. Then they have the writing rubrics. There are two rubrics. One is point-based for the teachers, and then one is a happy face, sad face, which is for the kids to score their own writing. We might include sequencing. Again, that's going to look different. We may not always have sequencing in all the stories, but some of them will. Then we always have the grammar. So for this one, we did nouns and verbs. Because it's a cow, we threw in some labeling. So always going to have those very specific activities as well as the general activities. Always a graphing activity included. And then there might be a STEM or a science or art thing included. So this one we talked about some weight. So which would weigh more. And we always include vocabulary. So you have the little vocabulary cards, and then the kids have their paper where they can draw what the vocabulary word is. So that kind of gives you an idea of what's included. And so it's not just books that interest me. It's really kind of books that are thematic. And so we're able to use them to go along with whatever we're studying. And then, of course, they're also driven by our scope and sequence.
All right, there we go. So there's a great sample of a read up. And I don't think anyone minded that we took a moment to do that. And so we've got a question, how many days do you normally spend on one? I think you said about a week, right?
So they can go to 2 weeks. So and it can be a day. We've done creepy underwear day and creepy carrot day. So anywhere from a week to 2 weeks.
All right, next question. This one is from D. Lopez. What do you do on your writing day? What do they write about and how much?
So we don't necessarily have a writing day unless you're talking about read it up. And so that would be just a response to literature. And
that was a question from earlier.
Okay, yeah. So if a response, so for read it up, usually Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday is when we do one of our culminating writing tasks where they're responding to that specific story. So they would just write about, like for the old lady who swallowed a chick, it would be one of theirs is I would swallow, and then they have to think of something they would swallow. Then they have to write reasons why they would swallow it, and then draw a picture to go with it.
Do you differentiate for Spanish? Let's see, where was that question? Do you differentiate for your EL students?
Of course. And so they might have a sentence frame, a sentence starter. It might be for them, it might be more dictating. So they might draw a picture and tell me about it. Lots more visuals, of course, for my EL students. We do a lot of TPR, total physical response. And so we do a lot of acting out, a lot of charades type things for them. They get more time. They get some one-on-one instruction. They get small group instruction. They get 60 minutes of sheltered EL instruction with me. And so we do provide lots of differentiation for them.
Do you do a read it up and a research lesson on the same day?
We do. And so usually they happen at 2 separate times. So the research project would happen during our ELA block. And then during our intervention time in the afternoon, we might do a read it up.
Are there any videos of read it up in action as you do ABC Bootcamp?
There is not.
We need to do one. We've been talking about doing one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for that question.
We'll work on.
That's a good one.
Yeah, we'll work on some of them.
And I have a surprise for you guys. So if you're interested in the read it ups, and I know a lot of you are, I've seen a couple of you say you're sold on them. Guess what? You can save 25%. They're only $5, but you can save 25% using the code LIVE25.
Not alive.
No, LIVE25. It ends 3/25, so you have until the 25th to use the code LIVE25, and you will save an additional 25% off the entire store. That's not just on Read It Ups. That's on the entire store. So that's going to include bundles. That's going to include any single product. So there are bundles out there that are already 50% off, and you can use that code and get an additional 25% off. So that's for you guys to know about tonight. We're not advertising that anywhere else except for right here, unless you happen to be a Smorgie VIP member, and then you will also get this code. But again, it's LIVE25. Just be sure to enter that before you check out. If you check out before entering that code, I can't help you. You've missed your discount. So be sure you enter that code before you check out. And once you enter it, you're going to see your new price. So you'll see your regular price, then you'll enter that code, and bam, you're going to see your discount, which is going to be 25% or less.
But it's only on the TKS store. It is not valid on Teachers Pay Teachers.
Correct. All right. So let's see what else we got here. Actually, did I say they're only $5? Maybe they're $6. Hold on, guys. Now
I think they're $6.
Myself. We have some sight word products that are $5. Someone just said only $5. Oh my gosh, that's super cheap. I don't want to tell you wrong.
I think it might be 6.
Yeah, they're 6. I'm sorry, not 5. They're 6. Our sight word assessments are only $5.
Yeah.
Our new sight word assessment projects that we have.
Like, here's one.
Yeah, so be sure to go and check that out. We also have a new one that I just uploaded today called Flowering Sight Words. Those are only $5.
Yeah. So Read It Up. The Read It Ups are all $6 each.
All right. Someone says they've not been able to join VIP. The link won't work. Just copy and paste that link then. If you can't click on it, just copy and paste it into your browser, and you can join that way. And if you still need help, just email me, kindersmorgie@gmail.com, and I'll help you out. All right, let's do some more giveaways, shall we? It's almost 8 o'clock.
All right. How about ESGI?
Let's do it.
So again, ESGI is a one-on-one computer-based assessment tool. It's my #1 classroom must-have. It'll save you up to 400 hours a year on assessments. It eliminates all of your paper assessments. It can be done in just a matter of minutes. I did all of my report card assessments for all 19 kids in one day, right before we went on spring break. Today, I was able to print off all the reports and sent those all home to the parents. And so they'll have the report card, and then they'll have these very detailed reports from ESGI. So they'll have a very good understanding of where their kids are, what they need to work on. It's one-on-one, so the kids sit right there with me. We go through the assessment, click yes or no. When we're done, it generates immediate data, so you and your students see exactly how they did. You can see what they need to work on. You can use it on the fly. So I grab my iPad, test the kids on their sight words, and I can readjust our sight word instruction. And so it's a must-have. Again, use the code SMORGIEBONKERS to save $40 off the price and get your 60-day free trial. And the winner of a 1-year license to ESGI is Kim Hawks.
So Kim Hawks, if you are still here, be sure to let us know in the chat that you're here so that we can tell you what to do to get your prize.
Kim Hawks.
Kim Hawks, are you still here?
I feel like we need the Jeopardy theme song to play.
Right. Watch for her to pop up.
I can't see him. I turned it
you
off.
can't?
Yeah. Because I can't see anything because of the lights.
Oh.
So all I see is just a bunch of light.
So you're literally blinded by the light.
Literally.
Kim Hawks, are you still here? Your name is on the screen, which means you have won a free year of ESGI. She just typed in the letter I, so that means she's here.
Woohoo!
So Kim, here's what you need to do to claim your prize. You're going to need to send me an email at kindersmorgie@gmail.com. Again, that's kindersmorgie@gmail.com. And let me know that you've won ESGI. Give me your name, and then I'll tell you what you need to do to claim your prize.
Congratulations. And again, thank you to ESGI for always being a sponsor of Submissions for Smorgie Live. They've sponsored every live broadcast for over 4 years. So thank you, ESGI. All right. And finally, it's a $50 TKS store gift card. So you can take your $50 and get some Read It Up. So you can get some research projects. You can get ABC Bootcamp. And so that's just valid on the Kindergarten Smorgasbord online store at tksstore.com.
Hold on. You got to give me just a second. I'm still working on that later. You went through that too fast.
Oh, sorry. And just so you know, if you're not familiar with our store, it works the same way as TPT. You create an account. Once you've created that account, you have access to your purchases forever. They don't go anywhere. Anything that gets updated, you have access to the updates. And so that's the way it works. We're just able to do a lot more fun things, like give you a $50 gift card to Connie Palmisino. Connie, are you here? Because you have won a $50 gift card to the TKS store. Even when I turn around to see the winner, all I see are like 2 big light squares. I won't be able to see anything for another hour after we turn these lights off.
Kim's like, can you see me? Yes, we got you, girl. We got you.
Connie Palmisino, are you here?
So just be sure that you email us, Kim. I hope you can hear us because you need to be sure to email us. And we need to know if Connie is still here.
Connie, are you here?
Connie is here. Woohoo! Congratulations, Connie. So we will be in touch. Actually, we reversed it. You need to reach out to us. kindersmorgie@gmail.com. All 3 of tonight's winners need to reach out to us by emailing us at kindersmorgie@gmail.com. And I'll type that in here as well. kindersmorgie@gmail.com with your name and what you want. I will then respond to you, letting you know what to do to claim your prize. And as soon as I hear from you, I'll respond right away. So congratulations to all 3 of tonight's winners. All
We
right.
are very excited for you.
So now it's time for the lightning round. And if you're not familiar with the lightning round, here's the way the lightning round works. We're going to go through all of the questions that I have compiled, and I should have them all. I may have missed 1 or 2, but I should have the vast majority of them. If Greg takes too long, I will buzz him, letting him know he has taken too long, and we'll move on to the next question. Right, Mr. Greg?
Yes.
All right.
Bring it on.
All right. So going back to where we started tonight on any that I didn't get. This one's from Nikki. Are the other K teachers at your school as awesome as you?
Yes, they are. I have an amazing team, and there are 8 of us. We're like a family. I'm incredibly blessed to get to work with them every day.
Is ESGI only reading and language, or can you use it for math as well?
Reading, language, math, science, social studies. It can be used for anything.
From Jean, I know that you spend 60 minutes on literacy, hippopotamuses, and 40 minutes on math. How much time, if any, do you spend teaching whole group, ELA, and math?
Whole group ELA, the morning literacy routine takes about 15 minutes to 20 minutes. The whole group literacy lesson is about 20 to 30 minutes. And then for math, you're looking at about 20 to 25 minutes of whole group.
From Diantha, do you have a list of some of your must-have purchases from Amazon?
No, but that would make a great blog post.
It would, actually.
But basically, anything you can get on Amazon, you need it.
From Valerie, what does your literacy block look like? I have 90 minutes for reading and writing and always feel like I am rushing to fit it all in.
So we do something called our morning literacy routine, which has really sped things up. And so that covers our shared reading, sight words, phonics, phonemic awareness, fluency. So you can go to the website, thekindergartensmorgasbord.com, type in morning literacy routine. You'll find some videos and blog posts that kind of explain it.
From Suzanne, how do you group your students for your guided reading groups?
For guided reading, they are grouped based on their reading level, which we use Fountas and Pinnell. So it's based solely on their reading level.
From D. Lopez, I am an ESL teacher and pull out from 2 kindergarten classes. My pullout is not doing as well as I would like since they are in Spanish class all day. It's a bilingual school. What should I focus on?
One big thing would be conversation. I think the more our ESL kids talk, the more they're able to pick up the language, and they pick it up a lot faster, which is why my kids are constantly talking. And then I think focusing on phonics will help a lot. TKS Boot Camp works really, really well for pull-out, small group intervention type settings.
From Laura, do you have any good literacy recommendations for end of the school year craftivity?
I think we always end with space and dinosaurs, and so that's kind of where all of our stuff comes from at the end of the year. But it'll give me something to think about for a couple of read it ups for the end of the year.
From Brenda Taylor, do you implement a writing workshop, and how is it done?
We do not. We used to. District requirements and scheduling, it all changed, and so now our writing instruction is integrated into content writing.
From Michelle, do you have your kiddos write definitions for vocabulary words?
No, having them write the definitions does nothing. So we pull the words from our read alouds. We talk about what the word means. We will act it out if we can, and then a lot of times I'll have them draw what it looks like.
From Vicky, do you teach and model each center in the beginning of the year? If so, how much time per day, and what is the process?
So the way the centers work is that we spend about 9 weeks at the beginning of the year introducing not each individual activity, but each type of activity. So matching games, puzzles, spinners, word building. So we teach the individual types of centers, but not each individual activity. We take about 9 weeks to really spend that time teaching those. And it can be done whole group, it can be small group or one-on-one. And then after October, they're really able to do them independently.
From Brenda, do you have your ABC Bootcamp available without it being theme-based?
We don't. So we have the 4 themes that are available. We've talked about doing a generic non-themed version. So we'll see what happens.
From Laura, how do you maintain your community supplies?
Really, it's really putting the responsibility on the kids. And so I tell the kids that it's your classroom and this is your stuff. And if you tear it up, if you lose it, if you mess it up, that's on you. And then we don't have any fun stuff to use. And so beginning of the year, we use our our school supply research project. And so each day we focus on learning how to use a specific school supply. And so, we spend several weeks with that at the beginning of the year. So the kids are taught very specifically how to use each of the school supplies. And then it's just about reminding them of the procedures and expectations and holding them accountable for their stuff, because it's their stuff, it's their classroom, and it's their learning.
From Christian, can you share how you deal with behavior management in the classroom?
Really, for us, it's about relationships, expectations, and procedures. And so when they don't adhere to the expectations of the procedures, we either stop and do it again, they take a break, and then we have conversations about what to do to fix it, to make it better, to make it right.
From Vicky, how do you prepare the research projects in some kind of binding and have all the students work page by page, or do you put them together after they've completed each page?
No, we do. So we've done 2. We always do a research journal, so they're always put together. Last year we did binding with like a little binding machine. Kids loved it. It was great. A little more time consuming, But usually we just put all the pages we're going to use together and staple it, and then we focus on one page a day.
From Jade, since you don't have tables, do you just have all the kids sit on the carpet and complete it on the board?
Yep, they use clipboards, and they on the floor. They can use their bath mats, and they lay on their stomachs and do their work.
From Vicky, how much time do you spend on the calendar? When do you do your calendar?
Calendar is done at the beginning of our math block and takes anywhere from 6 to 10 minutes.
And the last question is from Hey, Jesse. Does your boot camps come with phonemic awareness because some of the students need help? Some of my students need help with blending. Any suggestions? So
the boot camps all have a blending component in them, except ABC boot camp, of course. So word family, blends, vowel teams, they all have blending components within them. So yes, so that's definitely something you could work on whole group and small group.
And that's it. Woohoo! We did it.
So if you had fun with us tonight and you got lots of good information and lots of good content and you want more, then you need to come join us for Elevate. And so Elevate is our one-day conference. It's 4 sessions where I share research-based best practices that are practical and simple and real. And so anybody who comes to Elevate, you're going to walk out of there with ideas, activities, and strategies that you can do in your classroom the very next day with zero to little expense. And that's the whole idea behind it. Is I'm a real life classroom teacher. And so we created our Elevate conferences to be a day of laughter and fun and inspiration and content that is real and reproducible. So you can take it in your classroom the next day and do it. And so we would love to have you join us at one of our Elevate conferences. We just wrapped up Elevate San Diego.
And how much did we give away?
Y'all, we gave away $25,000 in prizes and swag. And so when you come to Elevate, I may not be Oprah and you ain't getting a car, but we got some good stuff to give away. So you never know what we're going to have. You never know what kind of prizes and giveaways and swag you're going to get. But $25,000, those teachers left incredibly happy for Saturday from Elevate. So we have Elevate Nashville, Austin, and Chicago coming up this year. And so the dates are there. Nashville is on June 29th. We're super excited. That'll be our 3-year birthday of Elevate. So we're excited to come home to Nashville, and we might have cupcakes for you if you come to Nashville. Austin will be on July 13th, and that's when we're rolling out one of our brand new sessions, Comprehend This, all about read alouds and comprehension. Then we'll be in Chicago on October 19th. And so to grab your tickets, and y'all get them now, because here's what happens. We talk about Elevate, the tickets sell out, and then hundreds of people end up on the wait list. We only sell 250 seats. It's a very small conference, and the whole idea behind that is I want to talk to each and every one of you. The mister wants to talk to each and every one of you. So the only way that happens is if we keep it very small and personal. So if you're on the fence, if you're thinking about it, get your tickets to Elevate now. They will sell out, and then you'll be sad, and there's nothing we can do because we can put you on a wait list, but people don't give up their tickets. So head over to elevateyourclassroom.com. Get registered for Nashville, Austin, and Chicago, and we hope to see you all at Elevate in 2019.
And don't forget that everyone that's here tonight, you get ESGI for free. Even if you didn't win it for a year, you still get it for free for 60 days just by using the code Smorgie Bonkers. There it is, Smorgie Bonkers. Everyone here gets it free. Just use that code. For 60 days, yes. 60-day free trial. Yeah, get it free. But you've got to use this code. Just go to esgisoftware.com, enter the code SmorgieBonkers, and you'll be signed up. Anything else?
I think that's it.
That's it. All right.
Cool. If you want to follow along with our adoption journey, we have a Facebook group dedicated just to our adoption journey. And so you can search for 2 guys and a baby, Jason and Greg Adopt. You can find us on Facebook. You have to ask to join. We'll approve you, and you can follow along with our adoption journey.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching tonight, and we will see you again soon with submissions for Smorgie Live.
Happy classrooms.
Oh, yeah. You were looking at me like you were done.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait. Happy classrooms.
I will. It's pulling.
So again,
This is real live stuff here, guys. Like, he expects me to be immediate. Like, he says happy classrooms, and bam, it just pops up.
That's how it should work. It should be like that.
I wish it was voice activated.
I should speak it and it should happen, just like in my classroom. That never happens either. All right. So again, thank you guys so much for joining us, taking time out of your busy schedule to spend an hour with us every month. We appreciate all that you do in your classrooms for your students. And so we always end with our Happy Classrooms mission. So our challenge to you is every day post at least one happy, positive story from your classroom or from your school on social media. Use the hashtag Happy Classrooms. And this is how we can come together, use our voices, and drown out the negativity that surrounds teaching and education, whether that's negativity coming from within our own profession and from teachers posting negativity on social media, or whether that's drowning out the negativity created by the media, politicians, whoever. But hashtag Happy Classrooms is our way of using our voices to tell the true story of what's happening in our classrooms, because we know every single day that we all show up, we give 110%. Our kids show up and do amazing things every single day. And the only way that people know those stories is if we speak up and tell our stories. So use the hashtag Happy Classrooms, tell your story, tell your students' stories, and let your community and the bigger world know that amazing things are happening in our classrooms every single day. Hashtag Happy Classrooms, tell your story, use your voice, speak up for your students and for your profession, and let's work together to change the conversation around education. Again, thank you for all that you do. We appreciate you guys. If you need anything, reach out. We're happy to help. And we'll see you guys again soon for the next Submissions for Smorgie Live. Bye, everybody.